The goldfish is one of the biggest reasons behind fish keeping as a hobby became so popular and widespread. It goes without saying that this fish has been around for a long time, and over the years, it has been bred to create some of the most stunning varieties in the hobby. These are often referred to as fancy goldfish, and one of the fanciest is the very aptly named bubble-eye goldfish. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we will be talking about one of the coolest looking goldfish, the bubble-eye goldfish. But before we begin, be sure to smash that like button and click the notification bell. That way you never miss any of our videos. Okay, so what's with the bubble? Let us begin by addressing the elephant in the room. The bubble around the eye of this fish is what sets it apart, and it is only natural to question how this fish got such a unique characteristic in the first place. As alluded to earlier, this is a result of years of selective breeding, which has resulted in these fish possessing a fluid-filled sac under their eye. The fry are born without these bubbles, but develop them as they grow. Another cool thing about these bubbles is that they can regenerate if punctured. However, this should be avoided at all costs, as we will find out later. Another unique characteristic that gets overshadowed by the bubble is the lack of dorsal fins. It has a smooth and curved back that further emphasizes the bubbles, not that they would need it. Does the bubble-eye goldfish require special care? Goldfish in general are considered to be hardy fish and are often recommended for beginners and novices. The bubble-eye goldfish is an exception to that rule. Due to their unique physical traits, they do require some special conditions to live a happy life in the aquarium. The bubbles are just as delicate as they appear, and they can be easily punctured by sharp objects and other fish that are either aggressive or too inquisitive. The bubbles can grow back if it is punctured, but it can become highly susceptible to infections during the healing period. It can also end up growing back in a deformed manner, thus spoiling the appearance of the fish as a whole. In addition to all this, it can also cause a lot of stress for the fish as well. Another reason this fish is so delicate is that it is a very poor swimmer. The bulky eyes, coupled with the absence of dorsal fins, means that it is one of the most awkward swimmers out there. It cannot fight any strong water movement as a result. There have been horrendous stories of these fishes simply disappearing from the aquarium, only to be later found in the intake line of filters and pumps where they got stuck into. One thing you also have to ensure is that there are no sharp objects in the tank. This applies to aquarium decorations as well as a substrate. Smooth gravel or a bare bottom tank is the best option. It is also recommended to keep these fish without other fishes. There are two reasons for this. The first is the aforementioned possibility of other fishes willingly or inadvertently puncturing the bubbles. The second is that other fish can very easily outcompete the bubble-eye goldfish for food. This also includes other variety of goldfish. Do not keep these fish with faster swimming goldfish, like the common goldfish or the shabumpkin goldfish. The bubbles affect the sight of these fish as they have very limited field of vision. Add that to their poor swimming capabilities and they can easily go hungry in an aquarium with other fish. So, it is ideal to keep a variety-only tank or add fish that have similar quirks, such as the celestial goldfish or black moor goldfish. How long does a bubble-eye goldfish live? Goldfish live for a long time, and the bubble-eye goldfish is no different. If properly cared for, it can live up to 15 years. Getting to this number depends completely on how successfully infections are prevented. The bubbles are kept uninjured, and the water parameters are diligently maintained in the aquarium. Tank sizes and water perimeters. As with any fish, the bigger the better is the general rule when it comes to tank size. However, keeping a very large aquarium can be troublesome, as it will be quite tricky to ensure proper water circulation without introducing strong currents. The rule of thumb is to provide 20 gallons for a single bubble eye goldfish and 10 gallons each for every additional bubble eye. And yes, they cannot be kept in a bowl. Another rule you can use is the 1 gallon per inch of fish, though I like to keep it at 2 gallons per inch of fish. Water parameters are quite simple. Goldfish are cold water fish and can tolerate temperatures between 65 Fahrenheit to 80 Fahrenheit, or 18 Celsius to 27 Celsius, with 72 Fahrenheit, or 22 Celsius, being the ideal number you should aim for. The pH should be about 7 neutral, and that is it. The most important factor is to ensure that the water is kept clean. Like all goldfish, bubble eyes are messy eaters, and you will need a good filtration system. An under-gravel filtration system is a recommended option. Anything else with an intake port, like a canister filter or hang on the back filter, should be modified in such a way that these fish cannot be sucked into the system. Outfitting the port with some foam is the best way to do this. A 25% water change is also recommended every week. As they are highly prone to infections, any new addition to the tank should be done with properly quarantining it. Any fish that does get injured should immediately be moved to a hospital tank so that it can recuperate in peace and keep the chance of spreading an infection to a minimum. Feeding the bubble-eye goldfish. Bubble-eye goldfish, despite their fancy appearances, aren't picky eaters. However, it is best to take your time while feeding them. Since most of their field of vision is restricted to the top of its head, you might be tempted to feed it floating flakes or pellets, but that should be avoided. They tend to take in a lot of air as well when feeding on the surface. Use regular sinking pellets, and these fish will find their way to them. Also, leave the food a little longer, but do remove any uneaten food after about 15 minutes. They are omnivorous, so some additional protein in the form of frozen or dried bloodworms, tubifex worms, or brine shrimp are also recommended. Can you breed bubble-eye goldfish? Surprisingly, the answer is an emphatic yes. They can be bred regularly if the conditions are right. Ideally, a separate breeding tank should be set up with breeding mops or soft plants for the females to lay their eggs on. Temperatures is what triggers these fish into breeding. Start by lowering the temperature to 65 Fahrenheit or 16 Celsius and keep increasing it by 3 Fahrenheit or 1.5 Celsius each day. At about 70 Fahrenheit or 21 Celsius, the breeding process will begin. The females can lay hundreds of eggs, which will be fertilized by the males. Once this is done, it is best to remove the adults, as they will invariably end up feasting on their own eggs. The eggs will hatch in about a week's time, and they can be fed powdered fish food or infusoria. They will be born without the bubbles, which will start developing after they are about 6 months old. Should you keep bubble-eye goldfish? While they do require a bit more care than the regular goldfish, you do not have to move mountains to keep the bubble-eye goldfish successfully. If you are someone who has some experience keeping fish, and you want something that will be a great conversation starter and the focal point of your hobby, and you are willing to put in just a tad bit more effort, then the bubble-eye goldfish is definitely a fancy goldfish variety that you can dabble in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a comment below and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.